Welcome to the Michigan Short-Term Rentals Podcast. My name's Tony Stancato here with my co-host Jordan Painter. What's up, dude?
It's a good day to be alive.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Just coming out of peak season here, so we made it. We had a big year, definitely, I don't know, 2.5 to 3 times bigger than we were last year. So you're always nervous going into it when you grow that fast, but here we are on the other end of Labor Day, which is kind of the official end to peak season here in Michigan, and we made it. And I think we were just talking about it went really well. So
Yeah, I think it's a miracle in some ways. When we were coming into the spring, it's like we just have to survive. And we had 2 large projects coming into peak, and they were sucking up a lot of time and energy and mind space. And we added several new properties during peak as our investors were purchasing, and we never missed a turnover. We were never late, never had a late check-in. Really a testament to the team that we've put together, just really doing a great job in reacting to issues as they arose and getting things done and giving guests great experiences. So just awesome to have made it through.
yes, sir. So super exciting. And I think we just talked about, going to breakfast with the team tomorrow and just being super grateful for them and the time they put in. It is really a 24/7 gig. You never know when somebody's going to need something. So, but they made it happen. So really appreciate that. Wanted to give a shout out to JW Bush 16 for the 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Really appreciate that. Just said provides lots of value and enjoys the tight format. So JW, really appreciate the 5-star review. We do have a goal of getting 50 reviews by the end of the year. Currently, we are at 39, so we need 11 more. So if you wouldn't mind heading over to the podcast player of your choice and just leaving us a review there, we really appreciate it. It helps us get found in the search rankings more. So thank you for those that have done it and those that are hopefully going to do it after this podcast. Today, we want to talk about how to prevent negative reviews and how to respond to negative reviews. Seems like a relatively simple idea, but there are certain ways that you can handle it that can help you get better reviews, even if things don't go according to plan. So let's start with how to prevent negative reviews. So the number one thing you want to do is you want to listen and be empathetic. Jordan, I'm sure you've encountered people that they don't seem to listen. They always kind of think that other people are wrong and maybe have no empathy. And I think we've encountered that even when we've stayed at other people's places, or when you're reading through people's reviews, it just seems like the person that's doing the hosting just doesn't want to hear it. So for us, when things go wrong or things don't go according to plan, the biggest thing is hear them out. Let them say what they got to say. A lot of times you just need to vent, right? So listen and then be empathetic. Oh, I'm sorry that happened. Let me see what I can do to make that right.
Yeah, 2 pieces of advice I've been given over the years that have had an impact on me in this area. One is we have 2 ears and 1 mouth. Use them accordingly, right? So we always want to be thinking about what we're going to say. We always want to try to convince people of our point of view. You have to listen and you have to ask the right questions to find the right solution. So that's number 1. Number 2 is, and this is great relationship advice, so we'll go ahead and add this in, is that my brother-in-law always asks this question: do you want to be right, or do you want to have relationship, right? And so do you want to further the relationship with this guest and likely get them to rebook in the future, or do you want to be right and you want to prove them wrong and let them know how stupid they are and how unrealistic their expectations are? So it's your choice. You can choose one or the other.
Yeah, I really like that way. So if you don't listen and you're not empathetic, the chances of getting another booking in the future window probably substantially. So great advice on that one. Number 2, fix it or make it right. If something goes wrong in the property and they bring it to your attention, you have to respond quickly, and you have to be able to fix that issue that happened. And sometimes they can, they'll just let you know, like, hey, we arrived, this particular thing's not working, it doesn't need to be fixed during our stay. We just wanted to let you know. Those instances you don't have to, but you can always offer. We try to even offer, oh, do you need somebody to come out and take care of that, even if they don't make it, even if it's not like a big thing. But there's some things like, hey, if the plumbing's not working accordingly, or certain things are kind of really impacting their stay, you want to be responsive and fix it as quick as possible. And on the other end of it is like, make it up to them, right? How are you going to make it up to them for the inconvenience? They're spending their hard-earned money to come stay at your property, whether it's for a couple days or a week long. If their stay is bombarded with like inconveniences, like, you should make it up to them. Like, I know it's a house and that things go wrong, but you should definitely make it up to them for, they trusted that it was going to be a great stay. So the way that we make it up for the most part is we have a budget of up to, I think, $35. We can just, hey, buy donuts, buy coffee or whatever, just to kind of go over the top of like, hey, yeah, there was a plumbing issue. We'll take care of that. We'll get it fixed. But then, hey, we want to give you $30 to buy your group some donuts or some coffee during your stay.
Yeah, great advice. I think most people are reasonable and they don't have an expectation that there's never going to be any issues, right? People live in houses or apartments or whatever they live in. They experience from time to time issues with plumbing, or like you mentioned, any number of things that could go wrong. So every issue is an opportunity, right? And we've said this before, it's an opportunity to go above and beyond to make their stay memorable. And really, it doesn't take much, right? So you send some donuts over because they had a small issue, completely unexpected. Their expectation was that the issue is fixed, and they get a little bit of something extra to make up for the stress that it caused during their vacation. I personally have never stayed in a place and had anything like that, and I can tell you my mind would be blown if that were to happen. For me to have an issue dealt with like that would completely exceed any expectation I have. And it would guarantee that I would be coming back and trying to find other places that either that property owner owned or hosted, because I want to have that experience again. So
Absolutely. And you got to be pretty tuned into the guest, depending on the situation, right? And they will vary greatly. Like, we've had a property where somebody paid close to $30,000 to stay there, and one of the pumps in the basement went out, and the toilet started overflowing. So here you have this high-end client, and they're soaping up toilet water with towels, right? And they were great about it. Like, they actually rebooked. They booked again for next year, which is awesome. But then we've had lower end properties where you'd have similar or not even as big of a, instance or occurrence of something inconvenience happen, and that person gets extremely frustrated. So you kind of got to be tuned in. And if this one person is extremely frustrated, what can you do to maybe even go over the top a little bit more? Again, a 5-star review. At the end of the day, you want a 5-star review because that's going to be playing the long game. So if you have to step it up from a $30 to a dinner, even if the inconvenience isn't that great, we'll do that just to try to save the 5-star review. At a certain point, when you have 150 reviews, like a 4-star is not going to kill you. But at the beginning, it's really important to make sure that you're getting 5-star reviews across the board. The third thing, be overly apologetic and take the blame. I know we mentioned already just saying sorry, but again, go through reviews of certain properties and you'll see the owner, the host just arguing with that type of, like, with the guest. And in that instance, like, that's almost a big turnoff to me. Like, I don't want to go somewhere where it's like you're going to be just kind of in this battle with the host. So how you respond to that guest is going to be very important. But you, even in the guest communication, the messages with them, you just want to make sure, hey, I'm so sorry, it's your fault. Make sure that you are taking the blame, and don't pass the buck on anything else.
Yeah, it's great. I also think, just one of the things I've learned in business, you always hear the phrase, the customer's always right. And if you've ever been in business of any kind, you know that that's absolutely not true. And so the customer is not always right. However, they always deserve respect, and they always deserve to be treated with kindness and whatnot. So you can't control the reaction of the people you're dealing with, but you can control your reaction. You can do everything you can to stay calm and be professional. Whether they're happy with the solution that you've offered or not, you have to stay professional and make sure that you take care of the problem. So
Absolutely. And then, like, after that, so how to prevent negative reviews. So we just went through those three things. At the end of the day, too, you want to educate them on the review process. There's certain things that when we're rating one through five, right? Every Wednesday we do a leadership team meeting, and you got to give the meeting a review score, right? It never gets a 10. Like, in our mind, it's like nothing's ever perfect, right? But in Airbnb, some people might think, yeah, it wasn't like perfect, so they're going to give you a 4. Well, a 4, you get too many 4s, and I mean that drastically impacts your ability to make money down the road. And again, you need to educate some people on, hey, a 5. So we have the message at the end of the day that we send them is hey, this is what a 5-star is. It's not free of inconveniences or stuff happen. It's how did we respond to that, right? So if the toilet started overflowing and we responded quickly, we got it fixed right away, and maybe we got them donuts or whatever, like, in my opinion, that's still a 5-star stay. A 4-star is like, hey, you told me the toilet's overflowing. We sent somebody 2 or 3 days later to take a look at it, and you couldn't use the bathroom for the next 2 or 3 days. That might be a 4-star stay because you're not being responsive and you're not keeping the property up and running like it should be for their stay. So educate them, tell them you want a 5-star, tell them what a 5-star means, what a 4-star means, and how it might impact your business. So that can definitely help you get those 5 stars.
yeah, it's important. Education piece. It's funny. I remember at one point we got a glowing review from this person with 4 stars, and we're like, what in the heck? Why would they have had this great experience and offer 4 stars? And I think he didn't understand.
He went out of his way to reach out to us and say, hey, I just left you a glowing review. And like, nobody, like, people don't really do that. They usually just leave the review, but he went out of his way to say, hey, I just want you to know I left you an amazing review. And he wasn't lying. The review was amazing. Like, what he said was amazing, but the stars that he gave us was not to that level. He gave us a 4-star, but it read like it was like a 11 out of 10, So, but
better
that's
to
where
give a 5-star and leave the comment section blank.
Yeah, right, exactly. And then, so that's how to prevent a negative review. Then we want to go into how to respond to a negative review. So the biggest thing is, especially depending on what the review says, it's always good to give yourself a little bit of time before replying publicly to that. I know usually there's been times where we've gotten a pretty harsh review. I'm just thinking about the worst review we've gotten, and it was like a 3-star. I think we've only had 1 3-star, and you almost go into fight or flight right off the bat, right? So the biggest thing you can do is just give yourself 24 to 48 hours just to respond. Let it sit. Never good to respond when you're kind of in that mode, and just maybe not thinking as clearly as you should.
Yeah, we are all at, let's say, different levels of emotional maturity. And one of the things I've learned is the more mature you become, the quicker you can get back to neutral. And yeah, for me, I'm still at least 24-hour mark. If I get fired up about something, I'd love to be back to neutral in an hour, but sometimes I'm just not. And so, yeah, good advice. Try to wait to have those conversations, that feedback, until you've calmed down and you can give a response that's well thought out. And sometimes when in business, I'll draft an email and then just let it sit, and then I'll read through it again the next day, and I'll read through it like, whew, I'm glad I didn't send that yesterday.
Yeah,
Delete it and start over. So yeah, sometimes it helps to get your thoughts on paper, do what you got to do to calm down, and then revise it accordingly before the response is given.
absolutely. And then number two, respond. Ideally, you will respond with an action plan to remedy the situation, right? It depends on what the review stated, but let's say they said the toilet was always running and the sink was constantly dripping. It's always nice when you can respond and you can say, hey, thank you for letting us know. We're sorry about the the issue that happened. We've already called our plumber. They're scheduled to be here on Tuesday. It will no longer be an issue. So it's always good to just let people know. My wife is big on, like, she goes to the comments. That's one of the first things she does is go to the comments, see what people are saying about the property. So people are reading your response to that and seeing if it's still an issue. We've had a property that has just had AC issues this year. And we've had people go through the comments and say, hey, I noticed the air conditioner was down in July. Is it still working or is it still down? So people are reading those. People are reading the responses to those. So it is a big deal to make sure that you respond to any issues that were kind of brought to light there and just say, hey, this is how we're taking care of the situation. It will be handled. It's not going to be an issue in the future.
Yeah, that's great advice as well. And I think that, when you look at, there's some people, and we've talked about this before, there's some people that are just not going to be happy no matter what you do, no matter how much you bend over backwards. They're going to leave negative reviews. And, when people are looking at the 5-star, the 4-star, the 3-star, if you get a 3-star review, people are going to go look at that. They're going to say, okay, what's the worst thing that people have to say about this property? And again, most reasonable people are going to look through the thread and see, oh my gosh, this person was crazy and they're unrealistic and unreasonable, and look how well this host responded to this, and they were professional. And sometimes you read through that and it's like, man, I hope if I run into a situation I could respond that well, because I might fly off the handle and tell them to go pound sand. So those negative reviews, when people are looking through those, it could be an opportunity when people are reading through to see, hey, maybe it was an issue, but they do appreciate how the host handled it. So those are probably more likely to be read than the 55 stars. Are going to go down to the low one. So respond well and make sure that people see that.
Absolutely. And then number three, we already stated how you communicate with them. But again, if they leave a negative review, you just want to be apologetic and you want to take ownership of the issue. So never defend or deflect. You just want to, hey, I'm so sorry. Again, here's our action plan. Our fault. It'll never happen again. So that just comes off well when other people are reading it. So I always feel like you can't apologize enough. And I mean, maybe I'm a little over apologetic, but even for the smallest things, it's like, hey, super sorry that happened. We'll make sure that it doesn't happen in the future.
Like Jocko Willing says, extreme ownership, baby, get some. That's huge.
That's right. That's right. I think that's it for today. We are licensed agents in the state of Michigan. If you are looking for a property to do short-term rentals with or vacation rentals, we'd be happy to help you find that property. We have a few spots left for property management clients. We are looking for properties that do $100,000 or more in Michigan. So those will typically be on a lake, have a pool, that kind of stuff. But we do have a few spots for that. So if you know anybody or if you have one and you've been thinking about renting it out, we'd be happy to jump on a call and discuss. Till next time.